Rama Rama Hare Hare. So Canto 2, the Cosmic Manifestation, Chapter 5, the Cause of All Causes, and verse number 18. Sattvam rajas tamas itama iti nirgunasya gunastrayah
Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Sthiti sarga nirodheshu grihita maya vibho. Sattvam rajastama iti nirgunasya gunastrayah Sthiti sarga nirodheshu grihita maya vibho. Sattvam rajastama iti nirgunasya gunastrayah Sthiti sarga nirodheshu grihita maya vibho. Synonyms, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Synonyms, Sattvam, the mode of goodness; Rajaha, the mode of passion; Tamaha, the mode of ignorance; Iti, all these; Nirgunasya, of the transcendence; Guna Trayaha, are three qualities: Sthiti, maintenance; Sarga, creation; Nirodheshu, in destruction; Grihitaha, accepted; Mayaya, by the external energy; Vibho, of the Supreme. The Supreme Lord is pure spiritual form, transcendental to all material qualities. Yet for the sake of the creation of the material world and its maintenance and annihilation, He accepts through His external energy the material modes of nature called goodness, passion, and ignorance. Purport. The Supreme Lord is the master of the external energy manifested by the three material modes, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. And as master of this energy, he is ever unaffected by the influence of such bewildering energy. The living entities, the jivas, however, are affected by or susceptible to being influenced by such modes of material nature. That is the difference between the Lord and the living entities. The living entities are subjected by those qualities, although originally the living entities are qualitatively one with the Lord. In other words, the material modes of nature, being products of the energy of the Lord, are certainly connected with the Lord. But the connection is just like that between the master and the servants. The Supreme Lord is the controller of the material energy, whereas the living entities who are entangled in the material world are neither masters nor controllers. Rather, they become subordinate to or controlled by such energy. Factually, the Lord is eternally manifested by His internal potency or spiritual energy. Factually, the Lord is eternally manifested by His internal potency or spiritual energy, just like the sun and its rays in the clear sky. But at times, He creates the material energy as the sun creates a cloud in the clear sky. As the sun is ever increasingly unaffected by a spot of cloud, so also the unlimited Lord is unaffected by the spot of material energy manifested at times in the unlimited span of the Lord's rays of Brahma Jyoti. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhaktivedanta purports ki jai. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayat nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. The Supreme Lord is pure, spiritual form, transcendental to all material qualities, yet for the sake of the creation of the material world and its maintenance and annihilation, He accepts through His external energy the material modes of nature called goodness, passion, and ignorance. So here, till verse 17, Brahmaji described the greatness of the Lord. Now here, from this verse, he'll start describing the process of creation. So Brahmaji starts with the qualification of the Lord that yes, He's pure, spiritual, and transcendental. We use this word transcendental generally when we speak to outsiders or first-timers. We don't use these words. because the word transcendental and bewildered and these words are not used in the general common parlance. So transcendental basically means to go beyond. So Krishna is beyond these material qualities. And the translation, Sukadeva Goswami is describing, Brahmaji is describing here, that Krishna, for the sake of the creation of the material world and its maintenance in annihilation, he accepts through his external energy the material modes of nature. Yes, okay. Now, when I was reading this verse now, I was thinking so many, actually, the Sanskrit words we already know. We know the three modes of material nature, Sattvam, Rajas, and Tama. We already know from our study. Nirgunasya. Nirgunasya doesn't mean that he's got no guna. Nirguna doesn't mean he's got no qualities. Nirgun here means he's got no material qualities. And here Prabhupada translates as of the transcendence with a T capital T. That means it's divine. It's relating to Krishna. So Nirguna means Krishna doesn't have any material qualities. And then he says Gunastrayaha. Gunastraya means three qualities. Sattvam, Rajas, Tama. So Krishna is beyond these three qualities. Now these three qualities are required for what? Sthiti, Sarga, Nirodheshu. So Sthiti, as we know, Prabhupada translates here as maintenance. Sarga means creation. So we are describing in this whole series of verses, Sarga, the process of creation. And as we know, the out of the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam, one is Sarga. Sarga, Visarga, Sthanam, Poshanam, Utaya. So this way 10 topics are described. So Sarga means creation. Sthiti means maintenance. Sthiti, as we know, Sthita. Sthita, the word Hindi word Sthit means it's there. It is existing. It's maintained. And Nirodheshu means to destroy. So for these three purposes, Krishna has accepted from the external energy, these three modes of nature. Now, today, please forgive me, it's Monday. I know we are all rushing for work and preparing things to go to office or send children to school. It's a little bit technical, so I will try to simplify as much as possible. Very simply, if we have seen the picture plates in Bhagavad Gita, one of the plates where it's shown Krishna, he is controlling the three modes, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. And those three modes in various combinations, like the puppets, controlling the jivas. So just have that picture in your mind, and it'll be easier for us to understand this purport. So Prabhupada says that yes, Krishna is creating, and in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says, Maya dhakshena prakriti suite sacharacharam hetunanina kaunteya jagada vipari vartate. So Krishna says that this material nature, now again Krishna says in that verse there, that which is one of my energies. So it's not the only energy. It's just one of Krishna's energies, one small bit, one small particle. As Prabhupada says here in the purport at the end, he says the sun is there, huge, humongous sun is there, illuminating the entire, universe. But then also it creates a little cloud. Yeah, and that little spot of cloud is not affecting the sun. So similarly, this little spot of material energy is not affecting the unlimited Lord. So that we have to understand. So there is the Lord, the material energy, and then the jiva is controlled by the material energy. This purport actually, if you read very carefully, it is very simple to understand, very self-explanatory. That the Lord is creating the material nature. Lord is himself is not affected. Now you might ask, in India we used to have a proverb that one who is dealing in coal, coking coal, the coal mines are there. One who is dealing in coal will always have his hands as dirty or black, because the dust of the coal will always touch his hands. So then we try to understand how, if this entire energy is material and if the Lord is completely spiritual, how the Lord is not being affected by the material nature. And Prabhupada says here, and again in that verse, in the purport of the 9th chapter, I think it's the 10th verse, Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kaunteya jagadavi parivartate. So basically, Krishna is saying that yes, this is my energy, the material nature, working under my direction. Maya Dhyakshena, under my adhyakshata, under my eyes. This Prakriti, the Prakriti of Chara and Achara. So it is coming out with the moving and non-moving, as Prabhupada is also speaking in this word. And so under this rule and under the rule of this material energy, the whole manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. So the same theme is given in that verse. And Prabhupada says there very, very simply that it's clearly stated that the Lord, even though He's the creator, but is aloof from the material energy because He's the supreme director. And everything works according to His will. It will be described in Srimad Bhāgavatam that how does Krishna create the primary creation we are speaking about. Of course, Brahma is creating the secondary creation, but Krishna is creating the primary creation, and he creates including Brahma, which we saw earlier. So Krishna is just creating through the glance, through his glance. He doesn't have to touch anything. So through his glance, the Mahatattva is the original, you can say, combination. If I have to explain it in simple terms, it is what's the term called? Where all the universes are coming out. Black hole. Yes, the black hole. So you can imagine the black hole, but in a spiritual nature, where Krishna is just glancing on this entirety of the material nature. And it is called by two names. One is called Pradhana. If you're writing notes, yes, it is important, but if you know this, then it's okay. And the other is called Mahatattva. Mahatattva means the great element. So when Krishna glances on the great element, the jivas come in contact with the modes of material nature, and then the activities start. Now, Krishna, the glance is also described in the scriptures as Rudra, his Lord Shiva. His Holiness Bhakti Brihat Bhagavatam Maharaj is given a whole lot of seminars. I think I mentioned this before on different aspects of Rudra. The original, of course, is Sadashiv. Then you have got Shiva, then Rudra. So various forms of Lord Shiva are active at different times. And here it is the form of Rudra, which is the glance of Krishna. And the glance agitates the material nature, and the jivas come in contact with the modes, and then the whole creation starts. So the example is given, then how can the Lord be aloof from that? So Prabhupada again speaks in the 9th chapter. Then he says the example is given in the Smriti. Smriti means one of the scriptures, Shruti and Smriti, where the knowledge is passed on through hearing and people remember that. So Prabhupada gives an example of a fragrant flower. So when a fragrant flower, you try to smell it, you will smell it. But the smelling also depends on the smelling capacity of the person. We can experience in our daily life that if we have severe cold, then we don't smell even if we have a very fragrant flower in front of us. So the smelling depends on the smelling power of the person. So that's why the smelling and the flower are two different things. They're detached from one another. And similarly, there's a similar connection between the material world and the Supreme Person. Actually, the Lord has nothing to do. He says time and time again that I've got nothing to do with this material world. Of course, Krishna is creating with his glance and his ordains, his instructions, but nothing is affecting Krishna. As Prabhupada says in this purport here, that he is ever unaffected by the influence of such bewildering energy. Now, if on the flip side, if Krishna is affected by the influence of this energy, he will not be God. He will not be the master of these energies. But here we know Prabhupada is proving from every possible angle that Krishna is the master, the modes are there, the living entities, are affected by these modes. So this is the process of creation which is starting here. Now, with with the with the three modes, once these three modes are activated, what comes out is three things: dravya, the matter; jnana, the knowledge; and kriya, the activities. So the different material stuff happens, material possessions come out, different like mountains, trees, stones. Then from there, creation happens. Jivas are happening. The bodies of the different jivas, based on their desires, are created. So this all is matter. The knowledge is also given by the modes of material nature. And we know that in the morning, when we get up fresh, we are in mode of goodness. We have this knowledge. Yes, I am the servant of the Supreme. Let me chant His name. Let me please Him. But in the afternoon and the evening, we've got the mode of passion and ignorance going. So the jnana is affected by these modes. And obviously, the kriya, the activities, are also going to be affected. Now, we also know that as jiva, we are qualitatively same as the Lord. That means we are pure and transcendental. But because we come in contact with the material modes of nature, and why do we come in contact and we are controlled by the material modes of nature? One word. One word. It is said, everything begins with a desire. Everything begins with a desire. So this desire actually is entangling us or enlivening us. This desire will bind us or will liberate us. The choice is always ours. So when we understand this theory, that yes, this material energy is working. And we always give this example, a classic example, when Duryodhan was insulting Vidurji. Vidurji came to advise Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan, specifically Dhritarashtra, before the war, that, my dear brother, please understand, please do not become blind by moha, by illusion towards your family, towards your children. Just try to understand this war is not going to bring good to anyone. And specifically, it will cause devastation in your family. And what does Duryodhan do? He thinks that Vidurji is a Sutaputra, he's lower than his whole clan, and he starts insulting him. And then Vidur immediately realizes he's standing almost near the door of the Sabha. He's like not right inside. He's almost like at the end, in the middle of the Sabha, but right at the end near the door. And when Duryodhan starts insulting him, Vidurji is thinking in his mind that because of the grace of the Lord on me, I can give this knowledge to these two people. I am helped by the mode of goodness right now, whereas Duryodhan is completely covered by mode of ignorance. So same situation, two different people, two different modes are working. And sometimes you see within us also, same time, same situation, two different modes will be working. So everything begins with a desire. And then our scriptures tell us, yes. So when we are illusioned that I am the body, the desire says that yes, I want to be the controller and the enjoyer. So under this illusion of being the, this word Prabhupada used to, this phrase Prabhupada used to use, and I'm going to probably speak a little bit on that so that we all understand, people who have been in the movement, people who are new, this lording it over the material nature, lording it over the material nature. Even though as a jiva, we know our position, the constitutional position as servant of the Lord. But because when we come in contact with the material nature, we have this tendency of lording it over the material nature. Now, our actions are controlled by the modes, yet we remain responsible for our actions. Because when we think that I am the doer, we have the sense that I am the doer and I want to enjoy through my actions. And this sense of false ego and this doership allows Maya or illusion to bind us. On the other hand, when we work for the pleasure of Krishna, when we work, we have our dravya, our possessions, our jnana, our knowledge, our kriya, our activities as service to the Lord, the same things are liberating. Now, an example can be given that, a young boy is there and he is, absorbed, in a young woman, or, he's enthralled by her beauty, and, or he's absorbed in a new car, and then thinks, wow, the moment I get this car or the moment I get this person, I'm going to be really happy. But what happens? Um, Again, this illusion is there that we have this false sense of enjoying. I'm going to buy the car, I'm going to perform this kriya, this action of buying this car, I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to be the enjoyer, right? But we see as devotees, when we no longer wish to enjoy material nature, Maya can no longer color our vision. We know that this is temporary. Any new car we buy, it's temporary. The glitter is going to be there, it's gone tomorrow. So whatever new things we are chasing is there, is gone tomorrow. So as devotees, when we understand that the soul is eternal, we don't want to attach the soul with this temporary stuff, then we have this vision, and then we are not controlled by the material nature. In the next purport of first Prabhupada is again going to say that the main problem is that the living entities as jiva, we are not meant to be conditioned by the material energy. It is our desire to lord it over the material nature that is actually binding us. That is actually binding us. So this is the position that the Lord is the director. The material modes of nature are created, and we all, even though we are pure and spiritual, we are working under the modes of material nature because of the desire to enjoy and lord it over the material nature. Whereas Prabhupada in this purport gives the example that the Lord is not affected. The entire creation, 3/4, 75% is spiritual creation. All the beautiful Vaikuntha planets, the Golok Vrindavan, Ayodhya, Jagannath Puri Dham, all these are there in the spiritual world. 75%. Only 25%, a very small portion, is the material world. So Prabhupada says it's like a cloud, a small cloud, which cannot affect the illumination of the sun. The sun is creating the cloud, but it is not affected by the cloud. So same way, the Lord is creating this material world, this material energy, but the Lord is not affected by the material nature or the material world. So we've heard this many, 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 many times. And Prabhupada also states in one of the purports where he says that yes, as human beings, we should understand the importance of this human life. Let us not waste it. But then Prabhupada also says that not all human beings are intelligent. So when we don't have this intelligence, the importance of human life is not always understood. And that's why hearing it constantly from the devotees, from Srila Prabhupada, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, makes us really understand the importance of this human life. So most people are generally interested in satisfying the desires that we have developed according to bodily concept. I want to eat this. My tongue wants to eat this. I want to see this movie. My eyes want to see this. I want to wear this. I want to wear this perfume, wear this clothes. Do this, do that. So everything is based on a bodily concept. Thus, in this way, we actually neglect what is the long-term good for a short-term benefit. So we are accepting, we are embracing temporary for something at the cost of something which is long term. And as I put this verse on the group a couple of weeks ago, Kadambakaran Maharaj says that the person who marries the fashion of today will become a widow tomorrow, because things are going to change all the time. And then how our desires are going to be fulfilled if we attach ourselves to the temporary. Now we are hearing this again and again and again. The difference between, can I honestly say, the people who follow Vedic culture and people who do not follow Vedic culture, there's a difference. Both of them, they have the material desire, right? But here in our case, we are hearing that even if we want to satisfy the material desire, according to the Vedic culture, we want to submit ourselves to the higher authorities. Someone wants to pray to Lord Saraswati to get good marks. Someone wants to pray to Lakshmi ji for getting some wealth, opulence, whatever it is. So in our case, people who follow the Vedic culture, they fulfill a desire by worshipping a superior or a devata or submitting to some higher authority. Basically, the desires are satisfied only after submitting to a higher power. Whenever we have something, we try to share, we try to offer it to the Lord like that. But people who do not follow the Vedic system, specifically the dominant mood in the West, is to barely acknowledge superiors. They don't want to acknowledge superiors. Why? Because the mood in the West is, I am the Lord Master and I am the enjoyer. I want to lord it over the material nature. And very few people actually voluntarily give themselves, surrender themselves to higher authorities. So Western culture instructs us to trust our fate, our capacity, our abilities. That's it. But as far as the Vedic system is concerned, we are purified, we are uplifted, because even when we attempt to fulfill our desires, we understand that we are insignificant, we are dependent on someone else. So we offer whatever we want to enjoy to the higher authorities. So there's a difference when we understand that even though we have the desire, if we offer our results, specifically as we know we've been studying, when we offer everything to Krishna, yat karoshi yadashnasi juhosi dadasiyat, Krishna says in the 9th chapter to Arjun, Arjun, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever activities you do, whatever austerities you perform, do it as an offering to me. So when we do that, today we can decide, okay, whatever I'm going to do, can I do it as an offering to Krishna? And the evening, as we have said before we go to bed, we can say, Krishna, I tried my best today. I have offered everything to you, whatever I did today, whatever I've achieved today. But still, I am lacking. So please give me intelligence that tomorrow I can be a better devotee. So this way, we understand that when we do everything as an offering to Krishna, as a service to Krishna, the material modes of nature are not going to work on us, because we are directly controlled by the Lord. I'm going to stop here. If there's any question or comments, reflections.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
I have a question. So we learn in the purport that the Lord is the supreme controller of the material energy. But what about interaction with the material energy? Like we hear stories of divine intervention. As devotees, we all feel Krishna's hand in our lives, guiding us on the path. So how does that work with the Lord and his interactions with the material energy? Even though he's aloof and unaffected, but we still feel his presence, and his presence may be felt in some sort of natural disaster when, certain people are miraculously saved. Thank you.
Yes. So in some cases, it is the karma of the person which is saving that person. But being a devotee, the Lord is directly getting, so he's directly intervening in our lives. And, to the extent we surrender, to the extent the modes of material nature do not work on us. So that's the important part we have to understand. That when we are completely surrendered, the Lord completely takes charge of our lives. And there's no question of the material energy working on us. But the less we are surrendered, of course, material energy is going to work on us. But slowly, when we progress, then we'll be also able to see the hands of material energy and the hands of the Lord. The devotees can easily see, this is my karma, and this is the Lord's affection towards me. Does it make sense, Prabhu?
Yes, it does. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Is it a complete answer or an incomplete answer?
No, that's very complete.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sometimes, we don't even know that the answer is, okay, it's correct in one angle, but there might be some other angle you might have had in your mind. Okay, it's 7 o'clock. If there's no other questions or comments or reflections, we can conclude here. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So any questions or comments? Okay, thank you everyone for joining. May you all have a wonderful day. And we'll see you tomorrow, Krishna willing, at 6:30 in the morning to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam, Brahmaji, Narad Muni, the process of creation, and of course, the Supreme Lord Himself from the lotus words, words coming out of the lotus mouth of Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.